I've spent the last few weeks with the VITURE Luma Ultra XR glasses, and honestly, they've taken me on a bit of an emotional journey. One minute I'm thinking, these are brilliant, the future is here. And the next minute I'm thinking, right, now I really want an Apple Vision Pro. So let me walk you through it, because these things are impressive in places and frustrating in others. And if you're considering buying them, you deserve the full picture. Welcome back to the channel, Roberto here, and today we are diving into the VITURE Luma Ultra XR glasses, which I've been using for the last few weeks for movies, working on the go, and general content consumption. I also bought the VITURE Pro Neckband to go with them, so you'll hear exactly how that went too. This video is not sponsored in any way, shape or form. I paid for these glasses myself, which means I get to be brutally honest with you. So let's get into it. The unboxing experience is genuinely lovely. VITURE clearly studied the Apple playbook when it comes to packaging, because the moment you lift the lid, you get that feeling of, oh, this is a premium device. Everything is neatly laid out, and the case, it's compact enough that carrying them around feels no different to carrying a pair of sunglasses. It sets the tone really well. Setting up the glasses themselves is actually really straightforward. You plug them into your phone or your laptop with the provided USB-C cable, and they just work. That simplicity is something that I really appreciate. Things get a bit more interesting when you want to use them as a virtual display with your Mac, because that requires the Spacewalker app. On macOS, it's surprisingly good. You can set your screen layouts, pick your refresh rates, jump between displays, and even switch your MacBook screen off, so the glasses act as the only display. It's slick, intuitive, and makes total sense. Unfortunately, this is where the good news ends, because Spacewalker on iOS and iPadOS feels like a completely different product. It's clunky, confusing, and you constantly find yourself thinking this is so much harder than it needs to be. Comfort-wise, these glasses do a decent job. They're light enough to wear for long periods without your face feeling strained. The arms adjust nicely, and you get different nose pads in the box so you can fine-tune the fit. There is a cable dangling off the right side, which does get annoying, especially if you move around a lot like I do when I'm working. And yes, you can absolutely disconnect them by accident. That becomes a fun little surprise when you're mid-email. One thing that's bothered me, and seems to have bothered other reviewers too, is that I can never quite get the top of the screen in full view. It's like the display sits at a slightly awkward angle, and no matter how much you adjust the glasses or your posture, that last little bit at the top refuses to cooperate. Doesn't actually ruin movies or videos, but for working with Windows in iOS, it becomes frustrating pretty quickly. The myopia adjustment dials on the lenses are a brilliant idea. If you're only mildly short-sighted, you might get away without prescription lenses by using the dials to adjust for your slight short-sightedness, which is a massive win. Unfortunately, my eyesight is absolutely dreadful. I'm wearing contact lenses right now. But for people like me, the myopia dials do help you to just get the clarity dialed in. And in general, comfort for passive media watching is absolutely fine. Comfort for work though, I've found to be a slightly different story. Let's start with movies and entertainment, because that's where these glasses really shine. The brightness is excellent and a clear step up from other XR glasses I've tried, like the XREAL Pros. Colors are vibrant, the picture looks great, and it really does feel like you're sitting in front of a big floating screen. It's a lovely experience. Using Spacewalker, you can also choose virtual environments. My favorite when I'm using the virtual desktop feature is one where it feels like you're floating in space above a Norwegian fjord with the northern lights shimmering down in the background. It's very cool if you've never tried the Apple Vision Pro. But if you have tried the Apple Vision Pro, you'll notice the difference immediately, because the virtual environments in this feel like a 720p wallpaper wrapped around you, rather than the actual physical space that you feel when you're in an immersive environment in the Apple Vision Pro. It's fine, but it's not as magical as the stunt that Apple managed to pull off with their device. The built-in speakers surprised me in a really good way. They're much, much better than I expected. For privacy, you still might want to use AirPods or other earbuds, but for casual viewing, not in a public space, they were absolutely fine. So for movies, YouTube, TV shows, sports highlights, these things absolutely deliver. Now let's talk about what happens when you actually try to do some work in them. I really wanted these to replace my monitor. I need a much wider, expansive display for the amount of work that I do, whether it's in my day job as a bespoke tailor and menswear designer, or in my other job, which is producing content for you lovely people on this channel. I also thought it would be really nice to just have a huge virtual monitor to use wherever I went. And the truth is, they're not quite at the level they need to be for serious productivity. Text clarity is the biggest issue. It's not crisp enough. Reading emails or writing documents just becomes tiring after 15 to 20 minutes. Even at the highest refresh rate of 120 Hz, you'll still see some blur when moving your head around to follow a wider virtual screen. It's really distracting, and for me, it very quickly led to both eye strain and the most banging migraines. Now, having previously had extensive demos of the Apple Vision Pro, that device has absolutely ruined and spoiled me here, because the text inside the Apple Vision Pro is so sharp. It feels like you're looking at any of Apple's Retina displays or monitors. With these glasses, I just can't settle into that flow. I've managed to get bursts of work done while traveling, and that's genuinely been useful, but I can't sit and write for the long stretches that I'd really hoped I'd be able to. And this is where I think VITURE's marketing becomes a little misleading. If you're watching this, then like me, you've probably seen their fancy ads on Instagram and other social media platforms, and they make you believe that you can set up a very high fidelity, full productivity workstation absolutely anywhere. But for me, the technology just isn't quite at that level yet. Not in this form factor. Now, let's talk about the VITURE Pro Neckband. I lasted about half an hour with it before deciding to send it back. Setup was fine. It's basically an Android computer that you wear around your neck, and then you can connect it to the VITURE glasses, and then that way you've got a sort of all-in-one solution that's independent of your phone, your MacBook. You can set apps up on it in Android, and away you go, watching content, movies, TV shows, doing work, responding to emails, browsing the web. It all happens from this neckband. But while it does, as it should, feel like wearing a tiny Android computer around your neck, unfortunately, it also performs like one. The interface is glitchy, navigation feels super awkward, and it regularly did things that made me stop and wonder if it was me that was doing things wrong, or if it's just not designed very well. At one point, it told me that at 91% battery, I only had 21 minutes of use left. And that was the moment where I thought, no, I'm not persevering with this anymore. This is going straight back to Amazon. Now look, maybe it will improve over time, and I know that there are people that have reviewed the neckband and absolutely love it. They say it's a game changer for the glasses and it's a must-have accessory. But right now, I personally do not think it's worth the money. Now, talking about connectivity and device compatibility within my own ecosystem, which I fully appreciate will be different to yours, these glasses work best with my M4 Pro MacBook Pro. That's where everything feels the most stable and most sensible. I've had some dropouts in early firmware versions, but those seem to have improved with recent updates. They're decent on the iPad, and they're good for watching movies on my 17 Pro Max, but again, the iOS version of Spacewalker stops them from being everything that I want them to be. And then there's the console situation. All the promos show these being used with a Nintendo Switch 2 or a PlayStation 5, and I thought this would be amazing for my Switch 2, but no, you need an extra dock. A separate purchase, another cable. It just feels like unnecessary friction for something that they advertise so heavily, and I just wish they would have made it more obvious that you need the mobile dock in order to be able to use the glasses with something like the Nintendo Switch 2. The biggest limitations for me have been in getting the fit perfect for serious work. the lack of crispness in text when using the glasses as a virtual display, and the gaps in the iOS software. The display is also prone to randomly drifting, which means I've had to recenter it a little bit more often than I would expect. And yes, that moment when I plugged them into my Switch 2 and then realized that I needed to spend money on extra gear definitely made me sigh. Probably the funniest and the saddest moment rolled into one was when I thought, wow, I really want an Apple Vision Pro now. I have previously told myself, and regular viewers will know this from previous videos, that the Apple Vision Pro was a hard no because of the price. But after spending £500 to £700 on the XREAL XR glasses, and then another £500 to £800 on the setup for the Luma Ultras, I am starting to think maybe it's better to save the money and save up for the proper thing instead of trying to cheat with cheaper alternatives. Now look, I think these glasses are brilliant for people who simply want a portable cinema. If you enjoy watching movies, TV shows, sports highlights, or YouTube content on the go, these are fantastic. If you're curious about spatial computing and you want a taste of the future without spending $3.5 grand, then these are a great entry point. But if you're expecting these to replace a monitor for serious work rather than just casual stuff, I don't think they're ready. If you want Apple Vision Pro level quality or stability, you'll be severely disappointed. And if you're planning to primarily use them with gaming consoles or handhelds, make sure you're ready for the extra accessories you need and the budget that will need to come with that. Now, despite all of that, I'm gonna keep the glasses because I think they'll fit a very specific need for me. They're genuinely excellent for content consumption and for doing a bit of light work while traveling. And when I eventually cave in the coming weeks and buy an Apple Vision Pro M5, the VITURE Luma Ultras will serve as my portable option. So, final verdict, the VITURE Luma Ultra XR glasses are a genuinely enjoyable pair of XR glasses for entertainment. The brightness is solid, the image is vibrant, and they're comfortable enough for long movie sessions. They're fun, they're futuristic, and they offer a great viewing experience anywhere. As a productivity tool though, they feel like an early step rather than a final solution. If VITURE can sharpen the text, clean up the software, improve the stability and refine the optics, they could turn these into something truly powerful. For now, they're a great companion for traveling and content, but not the workstation replacement that I really hoped they would be. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to hit like and subscribe to the channel. You can also hype this video. You'll find the hype button just underneath the viewer window there. And to further support the channel, you can check out our channel memberships. If you already own a pair of the Luma Pros, the Luma Ultras, or even the latest revision of these, the Beast, then please do share your feedback with not just me, but with everybody else in the TTM community in the comments below. And if you're considering XR glasses and you've got some questions that I might not have answered in this video, then again, drop your questions in the comments below. We do respond to every single one. I look forward to seeing you in the comments, and as ever, I'll see you on the next one.